We have prospects to stash, plus the Pirates are finally promoting Bubba Chandler. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Thursday, August 21st. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White. Before we get into the 5 prospects on the verge, someone who is getting the call, Bubba Chandler of the Pirates, except he's going to pitch out of the bullpen. So one of the most anticipated prospect promotions all season long. Scott got off to a great start, but then really kind of fell flat there. And he's getting called up. Like, we'll see what he does, but the expectation is that he'll pitch in bulk relief. So,
yes, you've heard the expression "better late than never." I'm not sure that applies in this case because it seems like everything got ruined by this promotion coming late. Through the end of May, 11 starts in, Bubba Chandler had a 2.03 ERA, 107 WHIP, 12.8 K per 9. Everyone knew he was on the verge of being called up. Probably should have been called up. I think he was only a couple weeks away from being called up, but everything fell apart thereafter. You don't know how it affected him mentally, if he started pressing, started feeling like he had to do something different since it wasn't. He's voiced how frustrated he was with the situation. So great numbers through 11 starts, final 13 at AAA. Bubba Chandler had a 5.96 ERA, a 1.87 WHIP, and right at a K per inning. So how much can you really count on him? Even before we get into the role, if he had a starting spot in the Pirates rotation, I'd probably be looking to roster him, but not with a lot of conviction. And the fact he's going to work in bulk relief, I think more is like a piggyback situation. It's going to be hard for him to make any sort of fantasy impact, even if he's good, which is very much questionable because of the way his last 13 starts went at AAA. So he's been rostered 65-80% CBS Sports leagues all year. That seems too high, to be honest, even now with Bubba Chandler in the majors.
Yeah, I mean, if you held on to him this long, I guess hold and see if he pitches really well in relief. Maybe he earns himself a spot in the rotation, but there are other names emerging right now, Hurston Waldrop and Cam Schlittler and guys like that. So it's tough to continue to hold on to Bubba Chandler. 5 prospects on the verge of getting called up: Jordan Lawler of the D-backs, JJ Weatherholt of the Cardinals, Jonah Tong of the Mets, Robbie Snelling of the Marlins, and Justin Crawford from the Phillies.
Yeah, so we got some new names here. I guess we'll start with Lawler. Any day now. Any day. Third base is wide open for him. That's mostly what he's been playing since coming back from this hamstring injury at AAA. During that time, he's hit 282, 5 homers, 7 steals, and an OPS near 1,000 in 20 games since returning. So he's doing his part any day. JJ Weatherholt could be any day for him too. Not as clear of an opening. Well, kind of there is a clear opening in St. Louis with Brendan Donovan on the IL. They've been playing Thomas Sajasi at second base. That's one of 3 positions Weatherholt could play for them. They could stick him at third if they wanted to upgrade from Nolan Gorman. Their openings, he's been performing well at AAA, very high-end prospect. Needs to be stashed. Jonah Tong is, I think this is his first mention as a stash for this season. But he just got moved up to AAA. He struck out 9 over 5 2/3 innings, got 18 swinging strikes. And just look at the state of the Mets right now. They are barely holding on to that third wild card spot, barely holding off the Reds for that. It's become a real dogfight. I think they could use all the help they could get. And Jonah Tong has been the most dominant pitcher in the minors this season. So I mentioned first start at AAA was great. He has a 1.50 ERA overall. His last 12 starts, a 0.99 ERA, a 0.82 WHIP, 14 K per 9. Batters hitting 138 against him. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it's just a couple looks at AAA and then bring up Jonah Tong, and he could be great for fantasy thereafter. Robbie Snelling has put himself in the top pitching prospect conversation as well. He was there a couple years ago with the Padres, was bad in 2024. Got traded in the Tanner Scott deal to the Marlins and pretty much turned things around right then. His velocity's been up 1.5 miles per hour this year, better control. In 6 888 starts, he has a 1.34 ERA, 0.95 whip, 11.5 K per 9. And he's still short of last year's innings total. So it's not like they need to preserve his workload, the Marlins. They can make room for Robbie Snelling, give him a nice audition for next year. I think Justin Crawford, the case for him, high batting average guy, 352 in August, tons of speed. Phillies have had trouble in left field all season. They don't have any good option there. They're still playing Max Kepler. He's doing nothing. This is the sort of player that could really energize a lineup with that game-changing speed that Justin Crawford offers. So maybe looking ahead to the postseason, they try him out in left field, see if he becomes a dynamic force in his lineup and can contribute a lot of steals in fantasy in a short time.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
Critics agree Landman is a hit.
We roll the dice one last time.
Men die. Oil companies don't.
Welcome back in FBT Express. Let's take a look at prospects on the periphery. Zach Veen of the Rockies, Thomas White of the Marlins, Ralphie Velasquez with the Guardians, Harlan Susanna of the Nationals, and Daniel Egan from the D-backs.
So Zach Veen, he was up before. Obviously, it didn't go well. I don't think you need to stash him. And really, the Rockies don't have room for him. All 3 of their outfielders are doing well. But Zach Veen's making every effort to force his way back into the majors. Last 36 games at AAA, batting .357, 4 home runs, 10 steals, and .961 OPS. The home run output could be higher, but that's more of a launch angle issue than exit velocities. Exit velocities are fine for Veen. So maybe some work to do with launch angle at 23. That's hardly unusual. I think he still has a pretty bright future. Thomas White of the Marlins, his sort of like Jonah Tong has put himself in the best pitching prospect conversation this year. He was 26th in my midseason top 50 and has turned in his best 3 outings since then. 14 strikeout effort on July 26th, a couple of 9 strikeout efforts. In all, he has a 1.31 ERA, 0.92 whip, 17 K per 9 in his last. I think that's in his last 4 starts. I didn't note that, but he's been dominating is the point. Ralphie Velasquez of the Guardians, converted catcher, playing first base now. He kind of, as a hitter, reminds me a little of Samuel Basallo. Like, he's not there yet, but he has that kind of like power that's like the stuff of legends already. You see some of Ralphie Velasquez's highlights. The home runs are like missiles. They get out of the ballpark before the play-by-play announcer even has a chance to react to them. He hits the ball very hard, and since moving up to Double-A, he's batting .433 with 4 homers. I think Ralphie Velasquez turning himself into a legit prospect. Harlan Susanna of the Nationals. So this Juan Soto trade is the gift that keeps on giving. He is the last piece there to yet to make a contribution for the major league club, but he looks well on his way. Missed some time with an elbow issue earlier this year, but in 6 starts since returning, Harlan Susanna has a 2.28 ERA, 0.85 whip, 16.7 K per 9. Just had a 13 strikeout effort there at Double-A last time out. He's had control issues in the past, throwing a lot of strikes now, hitting triple digits with that fastball. Looks like a legit pitching prospect. And then finally, the least known prospect here, Daniel Egan, spelled differently than the Veep character. He, among pitchers still in A-ball, he has the most strikeouts. His last 2 starts there, 2 hits combined, 21 strikeouts in 13 innings. Too good for high A, and 22 years old. You always worry when a player that old is dominating A-ball. Maybe he's just too good for the level. But Daniel Egan, really distinctive fastball, good carry, even though he throws from a high arm slot. Usually you get the good carry with a lower arm slot. So a tough look for hitters, couple of breaking balls that rate is plus. And I think he's somebody you need to take note of in dynasty leagues.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.